We are here representing the Institute of Chartered Accountants of the Eastern Caribbean St. Lucia branch. We would like to begin by acknowledging the flooding event of yesterday and the losses incurred by many. We hope for adequate and speedy recovery to all who have been affected. And again, this disaster underlies the need for insurance and business records and risk management, which are all aspects of our profession. We are celebrating our second annual Accountants Week across the Eastern Caribbean region simultaneously. The theme for this year's celebration and the message we are publicizing is leadership, ethics, and integrity, a roadmap to greater transparency and accountability. We have here Mrs. Andrea St. Rose, who is the president of the St. Lucia Branch Council, and also the president of the Eastern Caribbean Council. We also have Mrs. Sue-Ann Charlery Payne, who is the vice president of the St. Lucia Branch Council, and myself, Joanne Cooper, public relations officer for the St. Lucia Branch Council. At this point, I will hand over to Mrs. St. Rose to speak on the theme for this year's Accountants Week.
The theme for Accountants Week is leadership, ethics and integrity, roadmap to greater transparency and accountability. The theme is relevant and timely as transparency and accountability are at the heart of what we do as professional accountants. In its simplest form, transparency speaks to granting access to others so they see what actions are being taken and providing them with the results of the said actions. Transparency therefore calls for openness and two-way communication. Accountability, on the other hand, speaks to one's acceptance of responsibility and reporting of the results of the same. As such, the two concepts go hand in hand. In an environment of transparency and accountability, information is available for measuring and assessing performance so that decision makers are held responsible for their actions. In an environment of transparency, information for decision making is available in a timely manner. Transparency and accountability are imperative in both the public sector and the private sector, and as such, accountants should take a leadership role in driving the process. In the absence of transparency and accountability, an environment of mistrust will ensue, which is detrimental for business growth at the micro level and economic growth at the macro level. In recent times, the focus of accountability has moved to other elements that include sustainability issues, such as the impact of the environment, ethical conduct, and the fair treatment of employees. Investors are now taking increased interest in an entity's response to environmental, social, and governance issues. Take, for example, the flash flood that we experienced yesterday. Increasingly, investors want to know what processes and procedures are in place to respond to climate-related issues as they can negatively impact business performance. Today's accountants are well placed to drive these matters at the level of the board agenda. In performing their duties, professional accountants are guided by a code of conduct, which was developed by the International Federation of Accountants, IFAC. The code applies to all professional accountants, whether in public practice, in business, education, or the public sector. The code speaks to 5 fundamental principles: integrity, objectivity, professional competence and due care, confidentiality, and professional behavior. And so for Accountants Week, we take the opportunity to enlighten our members and the public at large on emerging issues as they relate to transparency and accountability and the role of leadership, ethics and integrity, and to remind professional accountants of their role as trusted business advisors. Thank you.
To provide a little bit of background, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of the Eastern Caribbean operates in 6 islands. They operate as branch councils in the islands of Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, most recently, St. Kitts and St. Lucia. The branch councils they are non-for-profit organizations. They are established to facilitate the sustainable development, promotion, regulation, and monitoring of the accounting profession within those member states. Prior to 2001, each of the branch councils actually undertook and plan independent weeks of activities to celebrate Accountants Week. Last year, the branch councils came together to roll out Accountants Week in a virtual form across the islands, where we brought members together on a platform that mimicked an in-person conference, where we got opportunities to network with each other, benefit from seminars and so on, which would be mirrored and repeated this year. This year's celebration was scheduled for the week of November 6th to 12th, to coincide with International Accountants Day, which is celebrated on November 10th every year. It's a day, an unofficial professional holiday set aside to celebrate accountants, recognize the contributions that we make to the society, schools, churches, the economy as a whole, and just generally help persons navigate the complexities of finances. This week's activities promises to be very interesting. We start off, and it's a mix of activities. We started off with a spiritual aspect yesterday, where we encourage the public and our members to offer prayers for the profession and the institute, followed by a brunch, which was well received. Today, we set aside the day for the media and promoting the profession. Tomorrow, we will have what the Institute is really known for, educating its members and continue to keep them relevant as is required of the profession, continuous professional development. We will be offering a free seminar on the standard, International Financial Reporting Standards, for small and medium-sized enterprises, the updates relating to that. On Wednesday, we have a fun evening, a night of fun and games, where we invite not just members, but persons who are aspiring accountants as well, students, to join us for an evening of fun and games, and we ask persons to come with their A game. On Thursday, which is our main event, our big event, which is our business conference, where we would have 3 regional and international renowned speakers who will be speaking to the topic that was presented. The target audience for the conference includes, of course, accountants, persons from the public sector, students, directors, members of audit and governance committees. As you would hear from the theme, all of these are relevant to persons from the business community, business owners. And I just want to mention that all of the events that are going to be coming during this week are actually free of charge to both members and non-members. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank BDO Eastern Caribbean, our gold sponsor, who have come on board and partnered with the Institute to offer financial assistance in this regard to facilitate the rollout of those activities. We actually will be closing out the week of events in a cocktail gala, which would be virtual, where we'll be tapping into, it'll be in person at the various branch locations that I spoke of on the islands, but we will be tapping in virtually to each of those. This is the only members-only event in the list of activities that I've just mentioned. All of the events are free to both members and non-members to attend, with the exception of the gala, which is on Saturday, where we close it off. Persons wishing to participate in the weeks of events are welcome to call the Institute or WhatsApp at 728-4039, or they can email at icaicslu@gmail.com. We look forward to active participation as we have lots to offer.
We would like to encourage people into the accounting profession. We want people to know that we, the Institute, we are here. We have the expertise and training to help people who are in business, public institutions, and that we are always seeking new entrants into the profession. Accounting is a stable, satisfactory paying career with global opportunities. it can be portrayed as boring and nerdy, but that is not the case. It is, as an accountant, you can be employed in every possible industry or business that you find interesting. And you can also work in the public sector, you can get into global development. There are very many aspects that you can work in as an accountant. Many accountants end up being the managers or chief executive officers of the business that they're working in, because as an accountant, you have a very critical understanding of all the aspects of the business that you're working at. Right now, there are many young persons who want to work on their own and be entrepreneurs. Being an accountant is one of the best ways to ensure success in your own business, because business is not just about selling or earning cash. There's a need to understand your expenses, there's a need to understand the risks that may arise, and accounting teaches you all of these things. We also need many more accountants in the public sector to make good fiscal decisions. So again, just trying to encourage people, you do not need to do accounting at CXC level to become an accountant. It's a profession that you can do in the later years of your educational career. You can do science or arts initially and then decide to become an accountant, because you could just enroll in accounting courses. There's an ACCA program which allows you to do self-study and pace it so that financially you can get through it in your own time. There's also, of course, the associate's degree at Sir Arthur Lewis, and after which you would enroll for professional exams. We also want to encourage persons who are already accountants to join the Institute. As a member of the Institute, there are benefits. One of the main ones is professional development courses and training, which you have to actually get to keep your membership in your own institute relevant. And we offer those those development courses at a discounted rate to members. Another benefit is recognition by regulatory authorities, and you also just assist in uplifting the profession as a whole, and by extension, your own career as a member of the Institute. So we would really like people to contact the Secretariat. We can be found at ICAEC.org and on Facebook at ICAEC for any further information on anything I've discussed. Thank you, and thanks very much for coming.